Hello, true believers. Welcome to my channel, Mr. Miracle Comics. My name is Dave, and today I have 5 more undervalued comic books for us to take a look at. All right. So, most places, theaters are still shut down, and big movie production companies are hesitant about releasing their things into theaters, right? We've seen like Wonder Woman has the simultaneous release where we have the theater release on the same day that you can order it on streaming service as well for a premium price. That's a pretty good idea. I think that was a good pivot by the um, movie companies to do this. Also, see, Disney focusing now on getting those streaming shows out, and one of them, of course, is WandaVision, right? So they're in their fourth episode as of this video, and there's lots of things that could still happen in that thing. It's been a slow burn. I'm kind of sitting there going, where's the $25 million that they're expending on these episodes, right? Like they're supposed to be spending $20 to $25 million an episode, and I just failed to see it in the first three. The fourth one, okay, right? Maybe they rented a lot of those black SUVs, so maybe that costs a lot. I don't know. At least some more happened, right? It's not the slow burn. Things are starting to kind of pick up, and they're promising a big finish. I'm hanging there. I'm going to keep watching it. Um, but my first spec is a WandaVision spec. Okay, there's still a little time to get in there. Not mainly because nothing has really been revealed. I mean, Sword was in there, Monica Rambeau was in there, Agatha Harkness is probably, you know, Aunt Aggie in there. The twins are now in there. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that's going on in there, but the big kind of reveal of what's going on hasn't happened yet. One of the comic book um, storylines that kind of mimic what's happening in WandaVision. Well, there's two that could possibly be in it, and one is the House of M, right? So if you went out and you got yourself a copy of the House of M when it was out new on the shelves the other year, it's a pretty recent book. A lot of people probably have it in their collection. It was a very good read as well. But in the House of M, Wanda has her powers kind of get loose and creates this ideal universe, like her ideal universe. Like people were coming back from the dead, and other people and characters were changed and stuff in her vision. And ended up, I think it was Doctor Strange that wound up helping her. Anyway, that's one possible storyline that this is all going, and it kind of matches up with WandaVision. Other one that could be involves Mephisto, which his first appearance is Silver Surfer #3, not undervalued. It is, quite a pricey comic book, but he did it through a character named Master Pandemonium, right? And Master Pandemonium came to WandaVision. A piece of Mephisto's essence was put into the twins. He took the twins and disappeared with them, right? Causing a whole bunch of strife between Vision and Wanda because the twins were gone. And the twins come back in Young Avengers #1 as Wiccan and Speed, right? So the first appearance, like, this could all be a subplot around Master Pandemonium. So Master Pandemonium's first appearance comes here in West Coast Avengers #4 from 1986. Okay, and this has that whole storyline based around him taking the twins, right? And they don't come back, like I said, till 2008 when Wiccan and Speed show back up. So in this one, there's a pocket universe that's kind of created around Wanda, and it's all Mephisto's doing and Master Pandemonium working together, grabbing the twins. The twins are actually a piece of Mephisto's soul. It's a convoluted little story, but kind of an interesting one. One of the better ones for Wanda and Vision anyway. If Master Pandemonium is the guy that has something to do responsible with what's going on in here, he can also travel dimensions. He's a demon. He's got all kinds of powers and all this stuff. So he could very well fit in there. And his first appearance, like I said, here in West Coast Avengers #4, super cheap right now. You can easily find this book for $1 to $10. Not a problem. Okay, which is pretty nice. This is like a really nice mint copy that I got for I think it was $4. $4 from my LCS. Found it just in the stacks. It's yeah, so super cheap spec. like I said, if WandaVision has been really, really popular, so if it is got anything to do with Master Pandemonium, different demons, traveling dimensions, it does link into, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. They keep saying that the WandaVision is gonna lead directly into that movie, right? So we're thinking demons are a part of this, other dimensional beings, the Lords of Fear, perhaps, that are all involved. Shuman Garoth or Nightmare or whomever is involved with all of this, right? And I mean, it might not be Master Pandemonium. It might be more the House of M, where it is actually Wanda just on her own losing control of her powers. Anyway, so from 1986, West Coast Avengers #4, first appearance of Master Pandemonium, a WandaVision spec there. All right, so moving along to #2. This is a book I keep finding this book. I've gotten several copies of it myself. I just picked up a couple more copies for $5 a piece. It is from 2014, and it is The Superior Spider-Man, #32, which has the first appearance of Master Weaver in it, and the inventors. I can't remember what their name. Anyways, Master Weaver is our most important thing. Kern, right? So when we know they're Into the Spider-Verse 2, it's going to become another animated movie. The first one was extremely popular and extremely, extremely well done. I think a lot of that had to do with Sony not really caring about the film, right? They were really focused on the live action Spider-Man stuff, and they weren't paying a whole lot of attention to Spider-Verse, so they never got their meddling fingers in there, right? You always got to watch out for the meddling fingers of different executives at these different production companies. They like to get in there. Oh, we should change this. That's more popular with kids, or we should do this. And they take away from visions directors and whatever. Left on its own, Spider-Verse was awesome, right? The animation was cool, the story was cool, the jokes were funny, the characters were good. They've talked about Into the Spider-Verse 2 is going to come out, but they're actually creating a new kind of technology for the animation, right? So it's going to take a while to come out. Most likely what they want to do, and they've mentioned they're going to bring in a bunch of other characters again, is follow this storyline, right? Where Master Weaver and the Inheritors are interdimensional beings that travel to all these different Spider-Verses, all these different dimensions, find the Spider-Person there and eat their soul. They're like Spider-Man vampires, right? Like and that's what they do. They travel around. So they, might show up in Punk Rock Spider-Man's universe and eat him, or, Japan Spider-Man's universe and eat him, or whatever, right? It's a very good way for the next animated film to bring in lots and lots of characters, right? Traveling different dimensions, using Master Weaver to do this, brings back in Miles Morales and all the other Spider characters, plus easily brings in a whole bunch more. This is also the first appearance of the Spider Army, which is like Spear Spider-Man and a few other characters travel around to these different Spider-Verses and get a whole bunch of different Spider-Men to gang together and helps to defeat the Inheritors before all the Spider-Men in all the dimensions are eaten, right? So this might be the first appearance of the major villain in Spider-Verse 2. I think it has a high degree of being that, right? Like I said, I've been buying copies of it myself. I have a couple more. They're about $5 a piece. I paid $5 for that one. You can see right there. I think it's a great spec, cheap, easy to just throw in your bin, wait for the next movie out. If I can't really see a better plot line for them to kind of do all this stuff. I mean, they did a good job creating a unique plot line for the first movie, but this one with the Spider-Verse, it really lends to it, right? It's a really good story. It's a smart story, and it really works to bring all those other characters into it, all the different, spider people that they want to bring in. Awesome. So, from 2014, first Master Weaver, first Inheritors look to pay anywhere from about $1 to $10. I wouldn't pay $10 unless it was like the most nice copy you've ever seen, but this is a super minty copy, never been read, pulled it right out of the stacks for $5 Canadian, right? So even less than the cover price. Excellent. Okay, so Number 3 on our list. And, this guy, and it's not getting as much hype as I was hoping, and I think it's just because of the pandemic and everything's been put on hold. So these guys haven't been putting out a lot of media around it. But there is a G.I. Joe movie already slated to come out, put on hold. They're talking about it being more of a ninja movie rather than being more of an army movie that we've seen. And those two first movies they had varying degrees of success, right? There were certain parts of the movies that were fine. There was lots of parts of it that you're like, no, why? What is this, right? Like, I've heard really good things about the upcoming G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Storm Shadow movie, that it's a ninja movie, not an army movie, right? Like, when was the last time we had a big budget ninja movie, man? Probably not since like the 80s, you know? So, anyways, obviously there's going to be some other characters besides Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow whose first appearances keep growing fast and fast and fast. And I would also pick this one, and it's from 1983, and it's G.I. Joe number 22, first appearance of Duke. Right, so Duke is supposed to be in there. This book people got excited when they heard about Duke, but everybody's forgotten about him. Going and checking recent prices on this book, you're going to get it 10, 15 bucks. I got this one for $10, and you can see Canadian price variant, newsstand, right? $10, really nice shape. Has like one spine tick right there, and then another one right at the staple. Right, there's that black cover, like all this black edge is hard to keep nice and square. But for 10 bucks, Canadian price variant, I don't care if it's got a couple little spine ticks, so it's not going to be a 9.8. Might throw down at a 9. It's a really decent shape, this one. Again, Duke is slated to be in there. Nobody's really looking at it because, like I said, there's been no media about it, right? They haven't been putting out trailers. Very little leaks. I think the first two movies, people might have a varying degree of interest in it, but if it's good and the reviews come out really, really positive and people are excited and say, hey, this is good, finally we got a good G.I. Joe movie, right? I think that not being centered on an army show could help it play a lot better overseas and make more money for this movie, making it a better product, making it a more profitable product. We could see more Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow type stories coming in the future. But Duke is definitely one of the characters that is slated to show up in the movie. And yeah, you can still get this guy for 5 to 15 bucks. I think once we see a friggin' good trailer with Duke in it, you may very well see this book take a good spike, right? It's one of the characters that shows up. If the movie starts getting good reviews, you're going to see this book take an even harder spike, right? Reviews have a lot to do with it. Oh, sorry. Okay, so from 1983, that's G.I. Joe number 22, first appearance of Duke, right? Look to pay anywhere from $5 to $15 for that guy. And like I said, how good the movie has a lot to do with the end product, right? Like, Into the Spider-Verse was such a good movie. Miles Morales' first appearance skyrocketed, right? Wonder Woman 1984, depending who saw it, whether you liked it or not, it had varying reviews and was not all that well received. So, like, the first appearance of Cheetah, Barbara Minerva Cheetah, spiked right before the movie and has dropped off, right, after the reviews, and everybody's like, well, she probably won't be back for another one or whatever, right? So, yeah, reviews do have a lot to do with it. So, looking at more of a far out spec for our next book, and we've all been talking about this guy. Everybody's been talking about the spec on this guy, right? Submariner. That's Submariner number 1 right there. Show you that guy. Definitely an undervalued book that I bought 15 years ago for 20 bucks. That one. At the time it was quite undervalued, but so I grabbed it for 15 bucks. It's not a big deal. Quite profitable. I wasn't making videos, of course, at the time, or that would have ended up on my list. However, we're hoping the subby shows up, right? If you have Fantastic Four number 4, his first appearance, great. Hold on to it. If there is any kind of Submariner movie, look to see that book take a crazy spike, right? I'd say that's an undervalued book still. Not going to show up on my show, of course, because it's like way out there, kind of long-term big boy spec. But if you have the means, I highly recommend getting a Fantastic Four #4 ASAP. Um, Summoner does have characters that ride around him, different villains, Tiger Shark, Orca, you know, all kinds of different guys, right? Anyways, one of the characters that's kind of on his side and his love interest shows up in this book, and it is the Submariner #50 from 1972, and it is the first appearance of Namorita. Right, great book, battle cover on there, fighting the lobster people. Um, I said Namorita. They always want to give the hero in our stories a love interest, right? Superman's got Lois Lane. Aquaman had his girl. Like they always have a girl somewhere, right? Very, very likely that Namorita will be that girl, right? They're going to put some Atlanteans in there. They're going to have some those kind of ancillary characters that fall around the Submariner. Very, very sure that if the Submariner movie goes off and they need other characters, they're going to give them a love interest, and it's going to be Namorita. All right, so this book, I picked this one up for $30. Really nice shape, this one, right? All the way from 1972, makes it 48 years old, right? So quite, getting up there in years for this guy. And, decent. It's hard to get in really nice condition because of the white cover. It gets really dirty. This one's nice. I don't know if it's ever been cleaned before. I don't think so. With a clean and a press, this one would be a really, really nice copy of that book for, for cheap still. If she shows up in any kind of, trailer or rumor or, once they actually announce a Submariner film and they get going on stuff, look to all those ancillary characters to jump up. We've done lots of Submariner specs. I think this is a really good one. And yeah, look to pay around $25 to $50 for a decent copy of this book. Right? They're on eBay. Nobody's really watching it. Good time right now is to grab a copy of that book. Right? So, 1972, Submariner #50, first appearance of Namorita. Look to pay $25 to $50 for that one. And like I said, that's a far out spec. They haven't announced anything to do with Submariner. The only little inkling that we might have is mentioning an earthquake in the ocean, right? Which caused the Submariner's spec to spike just on that. Like they didn't mention anything about Atlantis or anything, and it caused that book to spike. So if we see a trailer, if we see an announcement for a Submariner movie, watch all those books. They're jumping up. They're not that easy to find. They weren't huge print runs. Like I said, even #50 is almost 50 years old, right? Okay, so let's do a DC spec. We haven't done a DC spec for a while. I think it's still a good spec. I did bring this up a while back, but things have come and gone with this character. And I am going to say from 2006, Infinity Crisis #3, first appearance of Jamie Reyes as the Blue Beetle. All right, and then you can also pick up #5 to go with that. This is the variant cover #5. Because this is his first full appearance with him in the suit and all kinds of stuff, right? So cameo and then his first full appearance here, #5. These books are both still pretty cheap. I grabbed that one right out of the bin for $4.99 off of a local LCS here, which is cheaper than the cover price, which is $5.50 Canadian, right? So that's a Canadian price. Why this? Why? Like they had an announcement and they kind of said, no, we're not going to do a Jamie Reyes movie. They've mentioned him before. They've talked about having a Jamie Reyes movie show up. We're taking a look at, again, we got to think like a movie executive, not like a creative person, right? Don't think like a director. Don't think like a casting agent or a writer or anything like that. Think about a movie executive and what he wants. And what he wants is he's going to look at Marvel. The DC guys are going to look at Marvel. They're going to see how Marvel is setting up all of these teenage heroes, obviously leading towards some sort of teenage team, right? There's also adding all these diverse characters: American Chavez, Ms. Marvel, right? Monica Rambeau, all these characters that have diverse, like more diversity, right? Like Jamie Reyes is Hispanic, right? They're going to take a look at that. They're going to see, oh, that worked. That's successful. Look at the way they're setting it up. Look how excited people are, blah, blah, blah. We have to have our own young person group, right? That's exactly what he'll say. He'll hire directors and writers, write me a Young Justice movie, right? Blue Beetle was part of the Young Justice. Um, if you look at the Marvel teenage spec book characters, right? Like Ms. Marvel's first appearance is a huge box now. Um, Kate Bishop's, Avengers, Young Avengers #1, like all these different first appearances of these young characters jump in price because everybody's specking that they're going to do a Young Avengers. Well, they're probably going to do a Young Justice League or something, or Teen Titans or something around that, right? If that's successful on the Marvel side, we've seen it a million times where one movie company does one thing, it's successful, so the next movie company does the exact same thing, just tweaked in their way, right? Instead of Marvel heroes, it's DC heroes or whatever. They always, right, want to do the same thing as the other one because they're looking, oh, that worked, that's successful, that has legs, right? I can sell this to my boss and not get fired. Well, it worked for them. That's why we wanted it, right? I can blame it on the writer after that. Grab these teenage Justice League or DC hero appearances is a good idea, right? Especially now when there's nothing announced and there's no spec on it or anything. If you were grabbing up all those Marvel teenage character appearances 10 years ago, you would be buying them for $1 a piece. Right now, look at the price of them going up and up and up and up and up as these things get announced, as things get speculated on. Grab these DC younger hero spec books now. I mean, this one, Jamie Reyes, right? He's a very popular hero. He's diverse. That's kind of why I landed on him as my first one in this one. But all of them, right? Young Superman, Superboy, Wonder Girl, anything, right? All these younger heroes, start grabbing them up, right? Because you're going to see something come around where it puts all these DC younger heroes together, because DC is not going to let Marvel just monopolize the younger set, right? They're going to put out their own thing. They do it every time. And if DC starts off with something first, Marvel is going to do something around that too, right? They do it. They jump back and forth. If MGM puts out something, Universal's got to put out something similar. If Sony Pictures puts out something, Paramount's got to put out something similar. Right? Maybe they're the same. No, because Sony's Columbia. Right, never mind. You know what I'm saying, right? Movie executives aren't the most creative types. They're businessmen. They're looking, how can we make successful movies and more profits for shareholders and stakeholders in this company, right? And how do I keep my job and get the bonus? Oh, this worked. We're doing it too. Grab these young DC heroes. These are the ones to spec on now before there's a spec on them, right? If this starts to pan out, and it's almost a guarantee that it will because they're just not that creative of doing it, all these things will go from the dollar bins onto the wall, right? And you'll be paying $20 for it rather than $1. Get them now. Make a list. Go through, use your comic sense and make a list of young DC heroes that you would find interesting in a movie and that have popularity and that have diversity, and especially our young women, right? Young diverse women. It's like gold to these guys. Grab them now before any real specs going on, and you'll be happy in a few years when they start leaning that way. You'll already have all those books. You'll pay $1 for it when everybody else is paying 20. All right, so from 2006, Infinity Crisis #3 and 5, which makes up the first full appearance of Jamie Reyes. Oh, this is the variant cover, right? I have the other one too. I just it's somewhere in my stacks. That would be more his first full appearance, that A cover, because he's on the cover of that one. So I just pulled out the variant just to have a book to show you guys. But yeah, if you can get the A cover, I would. Right, I have an A cover. It's somewhere in my stacks and stacks of comic books. So yeah, from 2006, first appearance of Blue Beetle, Jamie Reyes. Look to pay $5 to $10 for this guy. Awesome. So that's been our 5 books this week. I know I ranted on a little bit today, but once in a while I get the gab going. Thank you again for watching, everybody, and happy specking out there. Just remember, Wednesdays might be new comic book day, but every day is old comic book day. All right, this is Mr. Miracle Comics. My name is Dave. We'll see you next time.